For a lot of people, when they hear the phrase, "the day the music died," they think of the Don McLean song, American Pie.
Long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile.
That was the day on February 3rd, 1959. Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper died in a plane crash near Clear Lake, Iowa. But for a generation raised on flannel and distortion, there's another date burned into our collective memory. April 5th. Two legendary voices, two souls bound by pain, addiction, and raw genius, silenced on the same fateful day, 8 years apart. Seattle in the late 1980s and early 90s, ground zero for a musical revolution. Grunge wasn't just a sound, it was an identity, a movement, a middle finger to the excess and gloss of the 80s, and at its heart, two voices that defined an era, Kurt Cobain and Layne Staley. Kurt Cobain, the reluctant messiah of the grunge explosion.
Is that Kennedy?
I don't think MTV would let us play that.
Layne Staley, the haunting poet whose voice dripped with pain and power. They didn't just sing about suffering, they lived it. And ultimately, it consumed them. Nirvana wasn't supposed to change the world, but in 1991, Nevermind hit like a sonic tidal wave, dethroning Michael Jackson on the charts and turning a scrappy trio from Aberdeen into reluctant superstars. Most people can tell you where they were and what they were doing on historical dates, 9/11 and the assassination of JFK. Me? I remember the first time I heard certain songs. I first heard Smells Like Teen Spirit, September of 1991. The video premiered on MTV. I stood in front of the TV in my parents' living room with my jaw on the floor. Previously, all that was on MTV was hair metal bands singing about partying and girls. They all had the tried and true first rock video to bring in the guys, then strategically followed up with a ballad to make fans of the girls. Don't get me wrong, I loved me some Poison, Def Leppard, and most hair bands. Every rose has its thorn.
Every rose has its thorn, alright.
To this day, still takes me back to the time I first felt the pain Bret Michaels sang about. Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, and Pearl Jam, now known as the Big Four of grunge, they were different. The sad songs they sang weren't the heartbreak you feel after getting dumped. It was the kind of pain you kept to yourself, the pain that scared you at times. But now you knew you weren't alone in feeling that way. It came known quickly that thousands of other people connected with the pain in this music too. But fame wasn't a dream for Kurt. It was a nightmare. The more the world wanted from him, the more he withdrew. Into his art, into his mind, into heroin. By 1994, Cobain was spiraling. Multiple overdoses, a failed intervention, and a stay in rehab. Then, on April 5th, a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A farewell note addressed to his childhood imaginary friend, Boda. The world lost an icon, and grunge lost its king. Layne Staley, a voice soaked in sorrow, textured with pain. Alice in Chains brought a darker, heavier sound to grunge, melding metal with melancholia. The first time Down in a Hole really spoke to me was laying on my friend's bed in his parents' basement, tending the wounds of recent heartbreak. I felt I'd never love anyone like that again. At that time, it felt like that song was written for me. It captured how I felt perfectly. But behind the music, Layne was crumbling. The death of his fiancée, Demry Parrott, in 1996, sent him deeper into isolation. Unlike Kurt, he didn't seek an escape in death. He just faded. Slowly. 8 years after Kurt's tragic end, Layne Staley was living in near complete seclusion. Friends say they barely saw him. His voice, once thunderous, had fallen silent. On April 5th, 2002, exactly 8 years to the day after Cobain, Layne passed away alone in his Seattle apartment.
The lead singer of the rock band Alice in Chains has been found dead in his Seattle home.
A mixture of heroin and cocaine. His body wasn't found for 2 weeks. 2 lives, 2 legends, 2 tragic ends. But their voices, their pain, their art, they never left us. April 5th may have silenced them, but their music, it will echo forever.